Welcome to Wang Vision Institute. I'm Dr. Wang. You know, the lives of so many of our patients, some of whom come from various different parts of the world, has been so dramatically changed that we feel so fortunate that here at the Wang Vision Institute, we have the technology. We have been involved in the research development of the new technologies that can restore vision in so many of our patients who otherwise have no hope for vision. And we have introduced the world's first next generation three-dimensional technology, and also we have recently introduced Tennessee's first bladeless all-laser LASIK technology, which raised the safety standard of laser vision correction to an unprecedented height. Here I'd like to introduce to you some of our special patients, one of whom came from Estonia, a small country near Russia, and many other patients come from various different parts of the United States. And they will share with you their experience and the impact that the care that we have been able to give to them have changed their lives.
I've been blind all my life, and blind is a good word. We can use that word because I really just couldn't see. I don't know, you know, the charts that they use to test your vision, those didn't work for me. I couldn't see the E. So when, when I was little, road signs, I could see the blur on the side of the road, but I had no idea what they were for. Headlights on cars. When there's two headlights up close, but in the car at night, all I saw were big round globes, you know, so my life was a little different. I felt like they were good eyes, they just didn't work, you know. So at any rate, things can get worse real easily, you know, if you don't do your research and do things right. And so we've been studying it for years and years and years. And we moved here from Mobile, Alabama. We moved here to Nashville, and we discovered Dr. Wang, and we came to one of his seminars. And that was one of the first things that we heard him say, was that bad things can happen if you don't do it right and do your research. He encouraged everybody to check, to do their homework, to read statistics on all the physicians and everything else, and to just load up with the knowledge that we needed to feel comfortable. But we also felt and heard in him a need within himself to actually do the right thing for people and take care of people. He's a very nurturing man, and many physicians are nurturing just by the nature of what they do. But there are those that just go beyond their actual work and really care. Those people are special, and I think Dr. Wang is one of those. And it wasn't that he just made me feel better, it's just that I felt better because he was who he was. And so we made the decision, and I got my nerve together, and we came down, and it was the best decision. Well, one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. I was scared to death in surgery, but he talked to me, and he told me everything that was going to happen ahead of it happening, and so I knew when something happened exactly what it was, and so I was okay with it. It was all done. He says, blink 3 times, and I knew it was done, and it was unbelievable. And even at that point, I was able to see somewhat. But he was holding a bottle of tears, refreshing tears or something like that, and explaining to me about these things and what I was going to have to do. And I was reading the label on that bottle without glasses. I had trouble reading labels on bottles with glasses. I mean, it was just magnificent. And I was so happy. I cried all the way out. I asked him, I said, it's okay to cry, I hope. He says, oh yeah, it's good for you. You know, because I was just ecstatic, and I have been ever since. This was one of my favorite pair of glasses. And these, you know, I used to have a pair of glasses in the glove compartment and a pair of glasses in almost every room of the house, and everywhere I went, I was going to have an extra pair of glasses. People just don't understand how important it is and how dependent a person is on their glasses. But I don't need them anymore.
Over 100 physicians from around the world came to Nashville recently to attend the National Eye Conference hosted by Dr. Wang, who taught and demonstrated a revolutionary new technology, bladeless, all-laser LASIK. It eliminates the use of any surgical knife in a LASIK procedure. To find out if this exciting new technology can help improve your vision, visit drmingwang.com or call Wang Vision Institute at 321-8881.
A couple of years ago, a friend mentioned to me about having laser surgery on her eyes, and I told her she was crazy, that, you know, you don't let anybody cut on your eyes. And but I'd been seeing commercials and seeing, you know, that seemed like, okay, they're getting the technique down, I'm getting a little bit more confidence in it, but I'll put it off and put it off, in which I think I would have continued to put it off. But my grandson was born, and the first time I looked at him, I had to have my reading glasses on to be able to see him clearly. And so that's when I decided that I was going to do something about it. I'd heard about Dr. Wang for some time as far as commercials on the radio, and I'd seen advertisements in the newspaper. So I started pulling up information about Dr. Wang, anything I could find on the internet, and I was really impressed with everything I read. I know you can't believe everything you read, so I started asking around to see if anyone was familiar with the work that Dr. Wang had performed, and I started hearing good things, and so it got to be that time, and so that's who I made my appointment with, and because I'd looked at other places to go, and it was just almost immediate no. I decided not to, but to go with Dr. Wang. From reading about Dr. Wang, I could read a lot of passion in what they were saying about him. And I was hoping that when I met him, I would also see that. But I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this man sees all these people all day long. He does this all day long. I really didn't expect to see it at the time. But when I met him, it was like I was the first person that could have walked in that day. And he was just so excited to talk to me and explain the procedure to me. And I left with a lot of confidence, looking forward to having the surgery. The first night was kind of bad because you had to keep the dark glasses on. You were supposed to sleep and keep your eyes closed, and that's really hard for me to do. But I did. I followed his orders and continuously put the eye drops in. So the next morning when I woke up, I asked my husband, I said, pick something out of the newspaper, let me see if I can read it. And he found the smallest print that he could find in the newspaper, and I looked at him, I'm like, oh no. But when I looked down, I was able to read it to him, so I was elated. Definitely just come in and have the eye test. The staff is absolutely wonderful that works with you. And once you have the eye test and you meet Dr. Wang, then you can kind of make your own decision. But if I can be an influence to you, I would like to go ahead and push you over to that side, the positive side that would make you go ahead and do it, because I have had absolutely no regrets. It's been great to be able to pick up the newspaper in the morning and read it, go to work and never put my glasses on, because I used to wear them around my neck, except for when I was asleep all the time.
Actually, I have worn contacts or glasses since the 5th grade. And started out wearing glasses, and when I was 16 I got contacts, so I wore them up until the last 3 years. For the last several years I had to wear the toric kind for the astigmatism, so my eyes were pretty bad, had real bad nearsightedness, and so the last 3 years I've gone into bifocals, so I decided that I didn't want to do that the rest of my life. And then when I saw the ad with Dr. Wang in the paper, I thought this might be something that I could be interested in. I didn't really know that much about it, so I looked him up on the internet. I read a little bit more about the LASIK surgery, and I decided that that is something that I wanted to invest in, and I thought it would just be great to be able to get up in the morning and be able to see. Well, I was really excited because I thought this is the last day I'm going to be wearing glasses. And so I got up and came down early. I wanted to make it early as possible, so I got here early. And Dr. Wang and his staff are great. They just make you feel so comfortable. They're just so professional and caring, and they make you feel just right at home. So I came in, went back, had my surgery. It was over probably in 30 minutes. Came back out, went home, went to bed, got up about 4 hours later. I thought, I'm going to try these new eyes out. So I went in the great room, I looked at the TV, and I thought, this is really amazing, because I could see the TV 20/20 vision perfectly, just as well as I ever could when I wore glasses. So I didn't know whether it would take me a while to kind of get used to it or adjusted, but I could see instantly, and that was great.
About 3 years ago, Andrea, a student in a theology school, discovered that his vision was gradually deteriorating. He went to see an eye doctor in his country and was diagnosed to have a condition that is gradually degrading his vision irreversibly.
The disease has reached the stage when no glasses would help.
In fact, Andrea was told that he's suffering from this corneal blinding condition, that no treatment is available, and he's going towards gradual loss of vision.
When I studied in the theological seminary, and I felt that my seeing ability was inadequate to study, to read, and so.
And Andrea gradually lost his vision, and in fact, he had to quit his school. In desperation, Andrea and his family sought internet, publications, and all information available to them, and through friends around the world, to find out if there's indeed a way to help Andrea, so that he will not suffer this devastating fate.
When we become aware of an individual who has a health need that cannot be met in their own country, we try our best to make it possible to bring them to the United States for proper attention to that problem.
Through friends, through other doctors, and through published information and internet, they find that here in Nashville, Tennessee, in the United States, at the Wang Vision Institute, we have the technology, an experimental treatment, which might be able to help Andrea restore his vision.
The last person to whom I spoke was Dr. Wang, and he told me of a unique procedure that he's developed that is an alternative to corneal transplants, which, as I understand, have a greater potential for risk and complications and rejection.
In September of 2002, Andrea and his family made a long trip across half of the world and arrived in the United States and in Nashville, Tennessee. They came to Wang Vision Institute and met us and our staff. We did perform a thorough evaluation and measurements for Andrea, and we determined, fortunately, with our experimental new treatment, we will be able to help Andrea. In the process of helping Andrea, we utilized the Astromax, the world's first next-generation three-dimensional technology. We specially configured the laser and designed special treatment plan for his condition. And The treatment plan is based upon many years of research that we have conducted, and his treatment worked beautifully. We treated both of his eyes, and when he departed Nashville, and he was able to see much better, and in fact he was able to see with his glasses, a situation which is very uncommon in patients suffering from keratoconus. Andres, how does it feel like to be only the 4th patient in the world to have received this new treatment?
I feel great.
I was looking for the best eye surgeon in the area.
One name.
One name.
One name.
One name kept coming up.
Everyone said,
Everyone said,
if you want the best, go to Dr. Wang.
I wanted the best.
I wanted the best. I wanted the best.
I wanted the best.
I wanted the best, so I went to Dr. Ming Wang.
Thank you, Dr. Ming Wang.
You know, I've got what they call keratoconus, and keratoconus is the coning of the cornea. And I've had this disorder for 25 years. Yes, this ran in the family. My brother had keratoconus and had to have both eyes where he went through and had a cornea transplant. And I kept asking my eye doctor, you know, when is laser surgery going to be such that you don't have to have a cornea transplant, but you can correct it with laser. And the reason they want to hold off the cornea transplant part of keratoconus is because, just like any other organ, there's a rejection factor, and you know, there's risk, and it is your eyes. So when I found out about Dr. Wang, he had actually perfected a laser technique to soften the cone of my cornea, and that just helps with the wearing of contact lenses. So I actually was like the 2nd in the world to have this procedure done, and it was successful. And he's gone on and actually done the procedure on a number of other people. So, you know, it was something in my situation where it was a very rare disorder. No doctors had been able to do anything, and then Dr. Wang comes along and not only is doing research in all kinds of amazing ways, but has the ability to know exactly how lasers work, so he can take specific problems such as mine and rectify it. You know, I think confidence is everything, and I sensed just a complete air of confidence. He was like, yes, I can take care of that. I've done the first procedure, it was very successful, and we now have the technology. I know a number of people that he's turned down because the technology's not there. In fact, over and over again, I hear him telling people, you know, you'll have to hold on because the technology's not there, but maybe in 5 years. Or, you know, maybe in a year or two, the technology, and I didn't really understand that other than when it came to my particular situation. For 25 years, the technology was not there, and then all of a sudden it is there. And so I felt his confidence, and I've been struggling with this for 25 years, so I was ready for something, you know. I actually laid down on the table, and he just was talking to me throughout the whole thing. He said, now, JR, I'm going to be doing this. And sure enough, he did that, whatever he did. And I really, you know, it took maybe 5 minutes per eye. And mine was not LASIK, so that there wasn't a vision change. It was really to improve my ability to wear contact lenses. And but it was painless, and it was over before I knew it, and he talked me all the way through it. I came back the next day and was able to get refitted into new contact lenses. And as a byproduct, and he told me that there's a chance that my vision would improve. I wore reading glasses before this procedure, and now I don't need to wear reading glasses. So it did improve my vision. Unbeknownst to me, I don't have to wear reading glasses any longer.
I think I became nearsighted when I was about 9 years old and had to start wearing glasses, and felt my way around all through high school because I was too vain to wear them. People thought I was conceited because I didn't speak, because I couldn't recognize them. My eye doctor, who had taken care of me for years, would not recommend it. I would ask him every time I went. I said, are you ready for me to do laser surgery yet? And he said, no, I don't trust it yet. And finally, one day when I went to see him, I said, how about the laser surgery? And he said, there's something new, it's called LASIK vision. And he said, I am sending my patients to get this kind of surgery. And we talked about it. And then I heard Dr. Wang on the radio. Read about him. I asked people who had had the surgery about him and learned that he had probably done more than anybody else in Nashville. I think I called his office and talked with people and asked them how many he had done, and then I said how many of them had problems afterwards. They didn't avoid my question, but they did tell me that he had repaired a good number of the surgeries that had been done by someone else. Sat in the chair and he tilted me way back, and I looked at the ceiling for a little while, and it just looked kind of like a blur. And then he did the first eye, and before he was finished with the first eye, I could see the little specks in the ceiling. I was just utterly amazed. And it didn't hurt. It was very comfortable. And all it took probably about 15 or 20 minutes, or maybe less. And I left going home with a pair of sunglasses, but I could see. I didn't expect to see. I am an artist, and it concerned me that I wouldn't be able to see the canvas, especially when I was doing portrait work where I needed to see the model and then look at the canvas. With glasses on, I couldn't do that. I would look at the model with my glasses on, take them off, and then do my canvas work because I could see better up close with no glasses. Very, very nearsighted, so there wasn't any way I could view the model. But this has worked very well. I don't wear any glasses anytime. And I can see the canvas and make the adjustment real quickly. There's not an adjustment time. It's also the same with sewing. I can sew without any glasses. I can thread a needle, which is amazing. I don't know many people my age who can do that. I talk him up. I've sent other people to him. I've had a really good friend who had a serious eye problem, and I sent him to him. The neat thing was we corresponded with him by email, and this was late one night, and in 15 minutes we had a reply from him and an appointment for my friend. He's a very accommodating man.
Here at the Wang Vision Institute, we have recently introduced the world's first next-generation three-dimensional technology, Astromax. In 0.2 seconds, Astromax will take 35,000 data points. All these data points are computer processed, offering an unprecedented resolution and accuracy for your cornea. Please do not hesitate to call us. Our staff at the Wang Vision Institute will be delighted to help you.
When I went, I told them, I said, I was diagnosed with a pituitary tumor about 3 years ago, because it's right up on above the optic nerve. And I said, I know it's nothing to it. My doctor told me, go away, don't worry about it, see you around. It's not causing you any problems. I was having headaches at the time. And so when I got to Dr. Wang, I went through all the procedures and everything. And I still don't know today if he saw something in I believe that he saw something in the testing. And he, I thought I was going to have my eyes done that day. And he called me in his office and he said, I don't feel comfortable doing this. And he said, and I was like, I was ticked, to say the least. And I said, well, I say it's okay, so do it. And he says, I know, but it's not okay. I need you to go see your doctor. And just he said, you come back to me with a clean MRI and then we'll talk about it. The next day I went and I had an MRI. Well, I had a brain tumor. Not anything remotely close to what they had diagnosed. and it was all over the place. In 2 weeks of finding this out, I had brain surgery, and it was major. And I was within like 5 months of dying. And he saved my life. And like I start crying when I talk about him, but he saved my life, literally. I call up and I said, I want to make an appointment. And I came in and I told him who I was, and he was like, I've been wondering what happened to you. I've been just wanting to know. And I was like, you don't realize. I kept telling him, you saved my life. You saved my life. And I still don't think he really understands that he literally saved my life. That afternoon, he told me that he had spoken to my surgeon and that he felt that everything was clean and that he did not have a problem with the procedure. And so Dr. Wang said, be here in the morning. And so I came and I did the surgery. And I left here and I went home, and I couldn't really, it was kind of blurry at first. And all that night I kept waking up because I was blind. He told me that 2200 is blind and I was at least 24. And so I couldn't find my glasses if I didn't know where I left them. And so all night long I kept waking up and I would peek, turn the TV on. And I was like, I can see this, it's getting better, it's getting better. And all night it got better. And the next morning, I could see. And so I came for my follow-up, and I had 20/20 in one eye. For all of my life, I have been blind. And I never knew how to tell my parents that until I was like probably 10 or 12 years old. And I mean, they had been taking me to eye doctors, but I'd get glasses, but they were never really strong enough. But to have to go through your teenage years with glasses when they were not cool glasses like they are now, and to, just simple things like if you want to put your head on a pillow, your glasses get all smooshed up, and they don't smoosh up anymore. You see what you see.
Well, you have met many of our patients, and I'm sure that you share many of their experiences. Perhaps you're like Joe, who has so many glasses that are lying around different parts of your home and offices, and whenever you need them, you can find them. And you would love to get rid of glasses and contact lenses and to be freed of dependence on them. Perhaps you like Andrea Panames and their family, who has a loved one who suffered such a devastating, irreversible visual loss, and would love to find a way to help, to see again. Perhaps you're like Deborah, who's not only vision, but also lives has been impacted in such a fundamentally positive way and life-saving experience. Because the doctor, the staff care. At Wang Vision Institute, that's our fundamental commitment to you. We care, we want to provide the best quality care for your vision. I hope the experience of these patients have touched your heart as much as it has touched ours. If you have any further questions and would like to find out how can we help you, do not hesitate to give us a call. Thank you.
If you've ever looked into laser vision correction, you know it's not actually all laser. There is a little cutting part that has to happen before the laser can work its magic, and that has been a big problem for many people. Not only is it the scariest part of LASIK, it is the most dangerous part. A few LASIK surgeries that do go wrong are mostly because of the flap cutting part of the procedure. But now a local surgeon is using a new type of laser that does away with the knife. He's calling it bladeless LASIK. Dr. Ming Wang says the most important benefit is taking human error out of the equation.
Second is reducing infection because no surgical blade sterilization. Number 3 is more precise cut. And number 4 is reduce the chance of needing redos.
The procedure takes the same amount of time, but there is more pressure involved as the flap is cut. You also have to be more careful to keep your eyes closed after the procedure for a while as the flap seals. and it costs $500 more per eye to get bladeless.
We have a big medical story to tell you about from right here in Nashville. This one involves the latest in vision correction surgery. For the very first time in Tennessee, LASIK eye surgery is performed without a blade. Doctors use a laser to lift the corneal flap instead, greatly reducing any chance of infection or scarring. The procedure has only been done a handful of times in the entire country, and this morning, Teresa Thomas became the first Tennessean to have it done.
Well, I can see now. I couldn't see without my glasses a couple of hours ago, and I can see. I can read the news too on your shirt, and I can see the clock and all of that. It's amazing, really.
The goal of LASIK eye surgery is to improve the eyesight of the patient so they no longer require glasses or contacts. Coming up tonight on News 2 at 10, hear from the doctor who does this new procedure and learn more about the benefits of bladeless LASIK surgery. Back to you guys.
We've all heard a lot about LASIK surgery in the last few years. It uses a laser to improve your vision so you can get rid of your glasses. It's elective. But now lasers can be used to stop someone from losing their sight completely. It's a medical breakthrough that was developed right here in Nashville, and it's being used to help a young man from halfway around the world.
And then, of course, we started to pray, and we didn't have the very big hope to get this help in our country, and so I am so happy now.
Irva and Olaf Parnemets are very religious people who found the answer to their prayers for their son Andres in Nashville. The couple from Estonia learned their son would eventually go blind because of a corneal disease, keratoconus, and their doctors at home gave them no hope. Andres even had to drop out of seminary school.
We have discovered that God's favorite method is people.
The person with the plan?
You have an area of your cornea.
Dr. Ming Wang.
The purpose of this treatment.
This their first meeting to talk about keratoconus and how he can help their son.
We know these patients are born with irregular cornea. It's a very sharp-tipped cornea. And after much studies, we realized that the reason that they progress in disease is because they wear a contact lens which erupt the tip of cornea, cause continued irritation and inflammation.
Dr. Wang spends several hours meeting with Andres and his family, and then he does numerous exams, checking measurements. But the actual laser process itself only should take about 5 minutes.
Blink. Okay, open really wide, no blink.
Can you make those letters out?
Now try not to blink.
Andres' father translates for his son throughout the morning.
There will be some moderate amount of discomfort and pain. On a scale 0 to 10, the pain is about 3.
Time to make the permanent change.
I have a special device that will hold your eyeball. Very loud sound. It goes pa 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 pa, okay? Everything's going great. We know reasonably assured that it will slow down the progression of the disease, but we also hope it will, in many cases, stop the progression of disease. It's not a treatment for the disease itself. Patient will still have keratoconus, will still wear contact lenses. Can you see? Is there any difference? It's kind of hazy, yeah?
About the same as other eye.
Oh, about the same as the other eye. Yeah. Oh, that's good, yes, because this is the worst eye.
Getting an up-close look after the laser procedure is Dr. Wang's final step before sending Andres on his way to begin the healing.
Beautiful. How do you say beautiful in?
Ilos.
Ilos. Ilos.
Dr. Wang did the procedure on both of Andres' eyes, and he's done extremely well. In fact, he's even able to wear glasses, which is almost unheard of with keratoconus patients. So he won't have to wear contact lenses that could still irritate his cornea.
All the way from Estonia. How do they hear about Dr. Wang?
Another example of a small world that we live in. Andres' father is the head of the Methodist Church in Estonia, and he did a lot of mission work and had met a local dermatologist, Dr. Fields from Nashville, and that's how he found out about Dr. Wang.
Oh, okay. Neat, neat story. Yeah. Well, good luck to that young man.
A North Carolina man is closer to his dream of sight tonight.
Wade Cook is recovering after a rare surgical procedure that could give him vision he's never had. 30-year-old Wade Cook has a condition known as aniridia. His eyes are covered with blood vessels and scarring that's left him legally blind. But last week, Dr. Ming Wang performed surgery on Wade's eye in a first-of-its-kind operation at St. Thomas Hospital.
The surgery itself went very well. We're very thankful that it did.
Dr. Wang removed the blood vessels and scarring from Wade's eye, then covered it with a membrane of amniotic tissue to help regenerate the sight. 1 week after the surgery, Wade talked to us by telephone.
So far, so good. I've had a little adjustment with the stitches, but getting used to my eye watering all the time and the pain that comes with that, and trying to operate normally with just one eye.
It will take weeks for Wade's eye to heal. Then in May, he'll undergo another procedure.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to remove the membrane, and you will see this eye heal very well. And then we'll do what we call a stem cell transplantation. Transplant a stem cell which is missing for Wade. He never had a stem cell.
If the transplant is successful, Wade looks forward to doing basic things that most of us take for granted.
Possibly drive, play ball with my kids, that kind of stuff.
I expect him to be able to walk around the house, performing basic functions, and if God's willing, we may be able to get him closer to driving vision, and that will be magical.
And what are the chances that Wade will realize his dream of sight? Well, Dr. Wang says the operation offers a 60 to 70% chance that his vision will be restored.
From the News Channel 5 Network, this is Medical Mondays with Amy Marsalis, brought to you by St. Thomas Health Services.
Good evening, everyone. Glad you could join us for another edition of Medical Mondays. If you have been paying attention to medical breakthroughs at all in the past 3, 4, maybe 5 years, you had to have seen the stories about LASIK surgery to correct whether nearsightedness, farsightedness. It has been extremely popular. I don't know the specific number, how many tens of thousands of people in this country have had LASIK surgery, but quite a few, and they're still having the procedure. There have been some problems with it, and tonight we're going to talk about correcting some of those problems, and we're going to talk about a new bladeless LASIK procedure that is now available for the first time in Middle Tennessee. Very excited to spend the next hour with my guest. To my immediate left, Dr. Ming Wang, director of the Wang Vision Institute. He's a corneal specialist. He has many, many titles and a lot of experience, a lot of education, an expert in using lasers. Glad to see you again, Dr. Wang.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Also, Teresa Thomas, who was the first patient to have the bladeless LASIK procedure by Dr. Wang in Tennessee, first patient.
Yes.
And that was just a week ago.
Yes, November 15th.
Wow, okay. And to my right, Jim Collier, who had another procedure, the custom cap procedure that Dr. Wang did on you to actually correct a problem you had from a previous LASIK procedure done somewhere else.
That's correct.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have a lot to digest here, a lot of different things to talk about. But first of all, I just want to get started with LASIK, and for people who haven't heard of it and don't know exactly what is being done with the laser to the eye, to the cornea, can you just explain in layman's terms what happens?
In the LASIK procedure, there are two parts to the procedure, Amy. The first part is actually using handheld instrument called microkeratome blade to make a corneal flap. Once the flap is made, that's the manual part. And then a laser is followed with correction. And in terms of accuracy and safety, majority problem actually come from the manual instrument part. Majority of the sight-threatening complications, as we will see later in the talk, come from the manual cutting of a corneal flap in preparation for the laser treatment. So as you look at the history of the technology, it starts with radiokeratotomy all by hand. Now partially hand, partially laser, the conventional LASIK technology. Now we are moving into a new era in technology, all laser, that completely eliminate surgical blade.
I was going to say, will that make the surgical blade obsolete then? Will the LASIK, as we've heard about it for the past 3, 4, 5 years, that's going to be old technology?
Yeah, the conventional LASIK technology will be an old technology, and we will be able to basically perform the whole procedure without having to have any surgical blade at all, therefore raising the precision and safety level to the next level.
In our just last 30, 40 seconds here, kind of the message you really want to drive home to viewers, I take it, really what I'm hearing you say is that LASIK is just a great thing, it's elective, but you really want to make sure you go to the right person because of the safety issues involved, which you know all too well, Jim. Jim's been pretty quiet over here, but you know that from experience.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think probably two main take-home messages. One is the technology is here now. We can perform surgery without using any surgical blade and all laser. That represents a natural progression of technology. But most importantly, as all high-tech technology, it has to be used properly. The doctor, surgeon has to have the right training, and patient has to select properly and use this high-tech technology properly to benefit us.
All right, thanks, Dr. Wang. Thank you. We'll be right back.